Hello there. I don't know if I'm gonna make this be a public or private video. Might have a few of these here and there, but regardless. So this is another summer sit-in video. It is May 24th. I want to say May 24th. Yeah, May 24th of 2025, and it's pretty late. I think it's about 23, 45 or something like that. I don't know, somewhere around that time. So it's pretty close to midnight. I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but so anyways, well, I kind of just had a bunch of different things in my mind here. So one is that I'll say so today I think was a good day overall. It was the last day of school for my brother and for my mom. So that was pretty cool. Well, it wasn't actually the last day for my mom. It's just last day with I think most students. I think it was. Still pretty big for both of them. We had some Subway for dinner, so that was nice. I had an Italian sub. I'm not very picky with the stuff they have in there. I liked all of the toppings, so and my dad was asking, what would you like to have? Right, before he went out and picked them up, I was just like, all the stuff, all of the above sounds great. So I'm glad I got to have that. It was pretty nice. My brother had it was a chicken teriyaki, and then my dad had I don't actually know what he had. Funny enough, but whatever, doesn't really matter. So he's had that. Got off a little bit earlier from work today, so that was nice. Weather was pretty good again. No, it was a little warmer than yesterday, unfortunately, but wasn't too bad. I did get a little sunburnt, but not very much. So I'm glad about that. I put some aloe on pretty soon after I got back home. So yeah. Beyond that, school. Well, I'd say school, but I don't really have school stuff right now. Today, not at school, but so yeah, anyway, let's kind of just talk with my dad about some of the stuff, and I'll need to, over the summer, over this, well, I don't really have to do it immediately, but, kind of just like to have some stuff figured out ahead of time, make a little plan, be a little prepared, do a bunch of research on a lot of different things, but not different things that I'll need or have to consider, while I'm in Sydney, Australia later this year. So, stuff like, what grocery stores will I go to, will I use a credit card to, will I be using probably something like an Opal card, with some of the public transportation they got there, or, all these different kind of things to consider. And, I do feel a little bad that I didn't really fully consider or think about all these, practical details earlier on, and during the school year, especially when I was trying to decide, what kind of program I'd like to go to and all that. But I don't think that, um, I don't think it really would have been. I still think there would have been practical concerns and all that for doing it at any point in the year or any length of time or really any place. So I don't think I chose Portland. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Be very interesting, you know. But at the same time, I know that it's probably, I know I kind of said this before, but it's probably going to feel quite overwhelming for the first couple of weeks, especially. It's going to be so many new things. And trying to get used to, being challenged in those ways, I know I'll probably figure this kind of stuff out, right? But, I know that I'll be anxious about, these are just normal adult things, right? But, figuring out my own food situation, right? Pretty much most, if not the entire time that I'm there, kind of figuring out, what events will I be going to, right? What parts of the city will I, want to, go see, and what kind of times are those, and how long it will take to different places, right? And, really just trying to figure out how do I, really guess what I'm trying to say is I'm just trying to figure out how will I, how will I experience and manage all these things, right? And kind of set, a little bit of the, start really living, really start getting a taste of what life is a little bit more like. I know I still, still study abroad, right? It's still school, I'll still be, I'll be taking classes and all that. I'll be having homework. And, I think one thing that's something that I really, that I kind of want to bring up here is this. So, I kind of had this belief for myself that once I kind of got to college or whatever, and I wouldn't be, or at least somewhere around this point in my life. Right, yeah. Oh. Right, then I would really then start trying, way more new things, involving myself in a lot more kind of experiences and all that, than I would have if I had to deal with, the hassles of trying to, figure stuff out with my family at the time, right? Especially because, we'd all be pretty tired and, I'd just be relying on, my parents to take me somewhere and they'd be, pretty tired or not really have the money for a lot of stuff, right? But, no complaint there. No, they're pretty hardworking. I have lots of really nice things. I have a nice home to, and then, a nice place around here. So, I'm not complaining, right? Gotta be grateful for what I got. But, so anyways, so it's not entirely true, that belief that I stated, but it's also not entirely false either. So I didn't end up trying new things like all the time. I still had a lot of routine. I still had a lot of kind of, I had a lot of days where I was just like, I just feel like playing Minecraft or watching some TV or, something like that, but, and I think that's okay. But, I did try some new things, right? I tried a couple of different clubs, I tried, what else did I do? I went around campus, I kind of explored some of it, a lot of it. I went to some different, like, cultural events and all that. I went to different, like, minority group clubs, club meetings, activities, all that was pretty fun. I didn't see very many of them while I was there, I don't think, but I did try to go to a couple of the movie events. Now, sometimes some of those I wasn't do too well because I would be like, oh, I'm too tired, or I get distracted or something like that, you know. But I did make some friends while I was there, and maybe while I didn't really do much with most of them outside of mostly just texting or calling or you know just kind of communicating if it was like around the class time or something like that, if I happen to see them, or at lunch or breakfast or dinner, right? um I think for myself, especially when talking about the whole thing of like trying to do stuff with friends, is I simultaneously feel like it's like my own fault. Like, I didn't try harder. I really didn't, you know, try as much as I really could have, you know, sometimes, even though I might have probably felt kind of tired, right? I really didn't try, being like, hey, I really didn't push as hard as I could have to, plan some of the stuff out that I was going to do with friends. But at the same time, too, I feel like it's such a normal thing. I feel like it's such a normal thing for a lot of people. That's a very common experience, and whatnot. And so I kind of just feel like sometimes where I was like, I don't know what to do, right? Like, I don't know what to do. I mean, the thing that makes it, I don't really know if I'd say worse or not. I don't know if that's really the correct word. But it's certainly interesting, or is. So, like, yes, I know there's a problem. Might be some people that are like, oh, well, now you're an adult, right? Now you don't have the free time to do stuff with, your friends or whatever. And I mean, yeah, I can see that. I understand where you're kind of coming from. But at the same time, too, like, even when I was a kid, for, most of my life, I've really not gotten to do things with friends that much. Not to say I haven't, I have on occasion. But I mean, like, if you're talking outside of school or outside of texting or calling with, some people, most of the friends I don't call, you know, but, right, you know, it's like, and I guess the rare exception of a couple of people that I played Minecraft with, I'm kind of forgetting about that whole thing, right? I never really got to, like, go out or like go over to friends' houses that frequently. Honestly, when I did, it was a long time ago. We had like two or three family friends, maybe four, that we went and saw sometimes on occasion. But it was mostly just my mom was friends with their mom or something like that. We just became friends. They just hung out and all that. And it was pretty fun. I have some good memories. So then the hard part of that too is, right, like, I know that I've had a lot of times in my life, I feel like, where I'm not really entirely sure why, but I kind of feel like I kind of just expected that, like, other people being like initiating towards me. But the thing is that even sometimes when people did, right, I was probably, well, I don't know if I was say too shy or whatever, but I was kind of hesitant or resistant to trying some of those new things, or I didn't really give those people a chance because I was like, well, they're not the right type of person or whatever. But I don't think I don't know. But now I try to. No, I'm not perfect at it, but now and then I'd say probably within the last, I'd say maybe in the last couple of years, I've gotten a lot better about that. If there's some random person that I maybe initially don't think, hey, this is the type of person I might be friends with or something like that, right? Being open to, hey, I might like them. Hey, this might be somewhat enjoyable, right? Even if it's nothing much, right? Even if it just ends up being just a casual conversation or something that's kind of funny or whatever, and just pass a couple of jokes and not really see them again, at least not for a long time. That's perfectly acceptable. That's perfectly okay. Um, but anyways, so but yeah. So I'm really just trying to figure out, kind of back to the main point thing here. I'm really just trying to kind of just really getting used to how different, how different life is going to feel, how a lot of, things that I will probably, learn about, experience, etc. Especially in the next couple of years. I don't think it really ever stops per se. I think it all really works like that. You know, but I will say, even though I think I'm the type of person who, I try to do a little bit of my own research, even if I'm not the best. I try to do at least a little bit of thinking about, you know, what are some types of things that I may encounter, right, or whatever. You know, I think that even so, right, I think I'm still bound to have a lot of things that I will feel confused by, I'll feel overwhelmed by, like, you know, paying taxes or trying to, get a loan on a place, to live at, or, trying to, choose, maybe have some kind of more, complicated, or deeper relationships with people outside of my family, right? Um, expect doing, maybe particular experiences, or I don't know, whatever that may be. It's just very generic, but you can, give me grace here, I'm tired. I don't know. But at the same time, too, I don't know, maybe I'm just being too, maybe, maybe I'm just being too worried here. Maybe I'm just, you know, maybe things will work themselves out. Maybe, and I'll be fine and good and handy and dandy and all that good stuff, right? I don't know. But, anyways, just appreciate if you've gone through this much of the video, if you've liked or resonated with any of the stuff that I've said, feel free to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell. I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers before July 18th, which is when I leave for Sydney, Australia. Or alternatively, if you want to do it, if you want to really help me out, you could subscribe to my channel and help me reach 100 subscribers before my birthday, which is June 14th, also known as Flag Day. So yeah, if you'd like to do that, be much appreciated, but no pressure. So yeah. Some other kind of thoughts I had, and I'm really curious to see what people's perspectives are. I don't know, maybe it's just me, just really getting caught on my emotions right now. I don't know. But I kind of, right now, kind of feeling, I'm like, I hope that, I hope that someone, at least maybe a few people, a few people, random people in the world, find these videos and see them and, resonate and hopefully comment on videos. I don't really comment most of the time, but I like hearing what people think. Well, some of that stuff. Some people can be really nasty about stuff they say online, but that point aside, right? I hope that I'm having some kind of impact. I don't know. And I don't know if I'm tired. I don't know if I will or not. I don't know what that would look like exactly. But I'm just hoping that these videos aren't for waste. But I'm also hoping that too, I'm not oversharing. That I'm not doing that. I don't know. It's hard because I want to be authentic. I want to express myself. Say what I think, and not not conform to what's expected. But at the same time too, right, I don't want to. I'm sorry. I know I would try to hold it to my face, but I'm too tired to hold. I'm just gonna keep on yawning. So I probably need to end this sooner rather than later. But I need to kind of sleep sooner rather than later. I know it anyways. I'll just be facing up and enjoy looking at the ceiling for at least a few minutes. I don't know. Right. So I hope that I'm not oversharing. I hope that I'm not, it's just constantly deciding, what personal information do I say? Now, obviously, there's certain things that are definitely a no-no, right? Like, you definitely don't. you definitely don't share your own, whether it be social or your passwords or anything like that, because that'd be pretty dumb to do that. Obviously, I'm not doing any stuff like that, but is what I think about is people's names. I can't really say what the names of the different people at the same time too. It's kind of name things aside. It's it's just a whole audience thing. I don't know who's watching these. I don't really know fully, if I'm being completely honest with myself. Am I making these? When I'm talking in these videos, when I'm talking in these daily walk ones or these summer sit-in ones, right? Am I talking to myself? Am I just talking to my future self? And just trying to remind them, or am I trying to, connect to, just about anybody, right? Or am I trying to target a specific audience? I don't know. I don't know. Well, I mean, I think I do, somewhat. I think it'd be wrong for me to. I think that, you know, I'm into Minecraft stuff, right? And that's very apparent on my channel. If you've watched my other videos, if you've ever clicked on my, you could click on the button that has my name on it, below this video, right? And you get to see all the videos that I have. Believe it or not, this is the 293rd video, I believe, or maybe 294th. I don't know, one of the two. I got another random gaming clip I can upload. That's another video. So I don't know. I'm just hoping that this whole video thing I've been doing, it's not for nothing. But at the same time too, I know making these videos like this is pretty normal for me now, right? But maybe I can feel better about it, because I know that I was pretty nervous to make videos a while back, and I didn't think I was ever actually going to do it. I should have questioned it, or how many of them I was going to do. But here I am today. Laying in my bed, making this video, and I'm getting close to 300 videos. At least 300 public ones. If I'm saying public and private, I think it's close to 350 or something. But still, it's a lot. And the other, I don't know, man. I'm probably fine. I'm just tired. But there's a whole part too, especially of like expressing emotions on here. And I've talked about them a lot. I've talked about, I think at least, I feel this way about this or that, right? But I don't know. I still feel like, man. Oh, excuse me. What I'm kind of talking about here is like, you don't really see me like, crying or like, making, goofy smiles or, that kind of stuff most of the time. But I don't know. I have the occasional video where you kind of see bits and pieces of and all that. But I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. Is it just part of me being autistic and have, resting bitch face? Or, am I just in thought and I'm just, making like a neutral expression or something? Or am I just, my face muscles too tired to convey something like that? Or maybe it's just, not the right time of the day or something. I don't know. But I want to say I'm concerned about that just because I want people to feel like they can connect. I want to feel like I'm expressing some stuff here and I'm not just this neutral looking face, of this dude who's just talking to himself, and just recording it on his phone. But I don't know, maybe I am. But even so, I'm still trying. But I don't know. I don't know how much more content I'll be doing this summer or not, but hopefully it's published a lot of videos. If you watched Summer Sitting video I did yesterday, or maybe the day before, I don't know. I don't know what the time is. Um, right. Well, so this Thursday, which was May 23rd of 2025, I think. Yeah. I'm so tired right now. I literally just completely lost my track of thought. So, I guess on that note, I'm gonna be ending this video up. But anyways, thanks for listening. If you managed to stick this far, I really appreciate it. And I'm interested to see what kind of videos I might be making this summer, right? Beyond just the Minecraft stuff or summer sit-ins or whatever. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what stuff I'll come up with. And I'm sure I'll probably have at least a handful of random Xbox clips that I recorded that I could just, I can download those and, put them on YouTube. But anyways, enough of that. I need to go into bed. But glad it's the weekend. So anyways, see you next one. Peace.